Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I want to reminisce, all misty-eyed, about my experiences with the Sega Genesis. That's a console that I enjoyed a lot when I was a kid. I would have had that system, it must have been when I was around 14 years old, like 14 to 15, and beyond. But it was really tied up with getting the Sega CD as well. I was checking the numbers on that, and this, I'm pretty sure I had the Genesis that had the pack-in version of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I remember playing that game a bunch, and I loved it. So the Sega CD really only would have come out maybe a year and a half after that had. So it couldn't have been very long that I had only the Genesis before I also had the Sega CD add-on. So the two things are really tied together for me, I think, and especially in my memories of games that I enjoyed playing. But I have a few games in my collection from that time. They aren't necessarily the exact same versions, although I think the Sonic the Hedgehog I may never have gotten rid of, so that could be my original. I just wanted to go through them a little bit here and play them today. I'm feeling nostalgic, I guess, so I'm going to play some of my old games for you guys. In that short period where I only had a Genesis, I'm fairly certain that I had Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, so I want to try some Sonic the Hedgehog here. Some of these games I haven't played in a long time, but the Sonic games actually I have played again pretty recently. I played a bunch of Sonic 1. I didn't finish it again, but I know I had beaten this back in the day. I had this when I was a teenager. And but I played Sonic 2 also recently. I got right up to the end. I was using some cheats to help me out, just with like a whole bunch of extra lives and continues and stuff, so I didn't have to mess around with that. But these games, they really were skill and memorization based, and I couldn't really get around that. I had to did still have to make it through the actual levels, and of course I got to the end boss, and I was having some trouble. At that point it was just late, and I'd been playing the game for several hours, and I was like, I didn't end up beating it. I'll probably go back and try to do it again someday, especially, with a save state or something would be especially nice. I know Sonic's Genesis collection on the PlayStation 3 lets you do that, which really breathes a lot of life back into some of these games. Oh, this is cool. You get the, I completely forgot about this. You get this extra stage, if you can collect that big ring at the end. Oh, that's cool, whoops. So when you hit these little R, oh, remember that was one of the goals. Those little R's like switch how the rotation goes left or right. Very cool. Additionally, I got Might and Magic. Okay, this is Might and Magic: Gates to Another World on the Sega Genesis. This is basically a port of Might and Magic 2. Okay, so I turned that down just a little bit. Basically, I was watching Happy Console Gamer. He did an uncharacteristically unhappy video of games that he and Robman hated. The games they didn't like. I was so surprised that Johnny was like, "Hey, I hated Might and Magic back on the Sega Genesis," and I was like, "Really? You got to be kidding me!" I don't know what it was. Maybe just because I cut my teeth on stuff like Bard's Tale on the Apple II and that sort of thing. I was really ready for this game. I know that this was in my RPG discovery period, and may I aid you? No, you may not. And I was, had played probably Final Fantasy on the NES, and maybe even Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, and I just was really excited about playing more RPGs, and so I picked this one up, and I was so pleased with it. I loved this game. I got, I was basically writing fiction about this game at the Mages Guild in high school. Like this was my fan fiction, I guess. I don't know. Might and Magic. Phantasm takes 7 points of damage. Gosh, this really is nostalgic. I loved these kind of games. Oh wow, and like Turwin III just got annihilated. So funny story about this. I don't think I've told this before. Maybe I have, but I got to the end of this game, and I totally beat the game, but there's this funny sequence where it's like, there are 99 demon lords or something like that. Do you want to fight them? So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm fighting these demon lords, and wow, we might be a little outclassed by these monsters. Waiting for Sir Felgo. What's the difference between attack and fight? Fight against the phantasm. I guess maybe attack will just automatically. Hermit. Well, okay. I was gonna say it doesn't seem like much of a fighter, but oh, good. The phantasm died horribly. I like that. Anyway, so I'm fighting all these demon lords at the end, and it was like I was just. Oh, I was so hard. I mean, I went back and, like, you know, ground levels and got all kinds of items and did everything I could to, who's this, Gene Eric, to be able to beat these. And I swear I got them down, there were 99 of them, so I got them down below 50. I think it was down to, like, there were maybe 20 or 30 of them left. And then they still killed me. I mean, I pulled out every dirty trick that I could think of. And finally I'm just like, I'm so sick of this. So I got to the point where it's like, hey, do you want to fight these 99 demon lords? And I'm just like, no. And the game just ends. And I'm like, wait a second, like, is that is that how that's supposed to work? Are you supposed to fight these stupid demon lords? And one of my friends had played through the game too on the oops, I didn't actually want to block, but whatever, I guess she won't get hurt. Had played through the game also, not on the Genesis, on like a PC, and he just didn't fight him. He was just like, no, I'm not gonna fight those things, and let the game end. So I don't know if there's some sort of special awesome ending you get if you beat the 99 demon lords. I know I was close, but I never did beat these demon lords. So we'll see if we can beat these phantasms here, and then I'll wrap up my reminiscing about Might and Magic 2. Suffice to say, I absolutely loved this game. No idea what you know, Johnny Millennium would you know, had what his issue with this game would have been, but you know, I guess different strokes for different folks. Oh, okay, we'll cast Flame Arrow. Oh yeah, sweet. So there we go. One person's unconscious, so we'd need to go raise him. But that's a little taste of Might and Magic on the Sega Genesis. I also had Star Control. Okay, so this is Star Control, and I have not played this game since I had it originally. I mean, we're talking like 20 years ago, probably. So let's. Oh my gosh, let's go. I'm playing these games emulated today. I do own these games, it's just that, you know, it's the only way that I can really capture footage. Both of my capture devices will not get directly, you know, from the hardware, from the Sega Genesis, or the Master System, I think, too, has some trouble with. So, for some reason, I would probably blame this on Star Trek, maybe, or something. When I was around the age that I was playing these games, I was really interested in some type of like strategic combat in space. I thought that was going to be a really cool thing. But yeah, so basically, how do I describe this game? It's sort of like space strategy light. It's really mostly an action game. But okay, so here are the ships. So you start off far away from each other, and you have some. Well, I mean, it depends on your ship. Like, all the ships have really, really unique abilities. Some of them are like long range, some of them are not. Some of them are kind of obviously based on, you know, sort of Star Trek type tropes and stuff. So the cool thing about this ship, like I said, there's no inertia, so I can stop dead. Whoa. It's pretty weak though on the I guess it's the crew, actually. You go by crew and fuel. Wow. Oh, that's their oh crap. That's their oh, I remember that ship. That ship was pretty cool. Oh man, those are like really long range. I wonder if I have any sort of, do I have thrusters, or what can I do here? Oh yeah. I think maybe that's helping me move. Okay, so I'm getting in range. We shoot these missiles, these like ICBMs. Oh man, what else? Ah, frig. See, I had some sort of defense. The computer is just mopping the floor with me. It's been so long since I played this, I don't even remember how any of these ships work. But this was a fun game in the end. I mean, I don't know how deep it is or like how much of it I would or could really play these days. I know there was a PC version. No idea if that plays differently or not. But I'm not even showing you guys the full game here. But this is just the ship-to-ship combat. Definitely the part of the game I remember the most, and definitely a really unique title on the Sega Genesis. And the other games that I remember distinctly are Mortal Kombat, which was a really big deal at the time, and definitely the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game. I believe it was Warriors of the Eternal Sun, which I definitely remember completing, which was, you know, it was fun at the time. Additionally, on the Sega CD itself, it had a pack-in. This isn't the pack-in that I had. This is a different one. I believe this might have been with the Sega CD version 2. I had the version 1, and I sadly got rid of it. I still do not have one, but it had these 4 games on a CD very similar to this. You've got Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi Columns, and Golden Axe. And I count these as Genesis games that I played, you know, when the Genesis was contemporary, despite the fact that I played them on the Sega CD. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of these. Alrighty, so this is Columns. This is another one that I used to play quite a bit, and you know, I will admit I had played Tetris and I liked that, and I still feel like Columns is not. It's not quite like the Tetris replacement. I don't know, but it's a really cool, it's a really fun puzzle game. I enjoy this. I can still play this now and have fun with it. And you know, when things really heat up like this, I'm just starting this off on normal. I think it gets pretty intense. Oh, that was a nice chain. And something. There we go. Get those. No, that's it for me. So yeah, so you know, yay, very good. This is you know, it's a cool game to go back and play. It's a fun puzzler. I do remember being a little disappointed, like I couldn't stick with this a little bit longer. And like you saw there, I mean, I know with some practice I can do better than I just did. But definitely a fun game just to play for, you know, 15-20 minutes or something like that and get your puzzle game fixed. Okay, this is Revenge of Shinobi, and you know, I'm kind of just going through most of the games that I had a chance to play on the Genesis that I owned myself back in the day. Again, this was part of a compilation. Would I have sought this out myself? I don't know. I really liked Ninja Gaiden, so I was definitely kind of interested in ninja games and the Shinobi series. I do remember, though, that I didn't like this game. I kind of hated it. All the other games on that collection, especially Streets of Rage and Golden Axe and Columns, I just loved to play. This one, I really didn't like. And it's funny because since then I've played, you know, Shinobi 3 and that sort of stuff. And I actually really like Shinobi 3. I liked the first Shinobi, but this one, I don't know what it is. We'll try it again here and see if I think any differently of it. I mean, and it wasn't, I don't think it was that I thought the gameplay seemed bad or that I didn't like the style of it or something. I really think it was the difficulty. I think I remember just getting to one point in the game and dying. I think it was the frustration. Like, I would just get, and maybe I just didn't understand that, you know, what my ninja arts did and, you know, how to use them effectively. I've really found that with games like this, having access to the internet is a huge boon. It's a good strategy against them. But yeah, see, I can almost feel a little bit of the frustration already right here, because it's like, how am I supposed to get through this spot right now? That guy's attacking me, and I'm sure this is a pretty cool game, and a lot of people probably like it, but it's never been a game for me. This game here, Streets of Rage, was one of my absolute favorites. I loved playing this game. I definitely completed this game. I probably beat it, I don't know, maybe like 2 times. I would be surprised if I'd only ever finished this once. I probably did at least a couple times. And, you know, the great thing also is that you can play this game... Oops, that is the special attack, where this guy shoots rockets. Kind of wasted on nothing here, but... this is also 2-player game, so, you know, just an absolutely awesome beat-em-up to play with your friends. And what I really like about it is just the style of the music and the graphics too. Just, it's so slick. The music, I know, is really well renowned for it. In fact, I'll turn it up a little bit since I turned it down for the last video a little bit so you can hear. I mean, just check that out. And the whole thing is great. It's all like this. And out of all of them, I mean, I've had a chance to play the second, probably the second and the third a little bit on like Sonic's, you know, Ultimate Genesis Collection, that kind of thing. And they seem great, and you know, they're like marginally improved from this one. But this is just the classic. I mean, when I think of Streets of Rage, this is the one that I think of, and when I want to play one, this is the one that I play. I definitely have not finished this game recently. In fact, I haven't even really played through it. I really want to now. I want to play this one again. It takes, I mean, it takes a while. It's probably a few hours to get through it. Aha, that was it. Like I said, just the variety of moves that you get with, it's 2 buttons and a special, like a, you know, attack where your friend comes in and smashes stuff is impressive. That's right. Now I'm getting this. So anyway, I've gone on way too much with this, but Streets of Rage, absolutely love this game. This just makes me want to play through this whole game right now, so maybe I'll go do that. Okay, so another absolute classic beat-em-up, Golden Axe. This is another one that I played a bunch of back in the day, and this is one, you know, this is an arcade port. You know, that's another cool thing, like you had these magic attacks, and then you had mounts. These were all just unique elements of these kind of games back then. I mean, there were only so many of these kind of games, and that's right, he's got the lightning. I was thinking it was the Earth, but that's, I guess that's the barbarian guy. Oh, that's another thing that's cool, like your magic attacks, like your magic does more damage if it's like up to level 2 or 3 than a level 1. Whoops, I didn't actually mean to use my magic. Oh yeah, the little sampled voice clips, like screams and stuff like that. I beat this game too, I beat this at least once or twice. Probably maybe even more than that. And it's another 2-player game. Really great game for the Genesis. You know, play with friends, play by yourself. It doesn't matter, it doesn't get a whole lot better. Just gonna throw these guys around. Haha. Oh yeah, and then you get these little sort of cutscenes too. Yeah, this was just a classic. Great arcade game and great arcade port to the Sega Genesis. Okay, this is something I'm just gonna put up here while I sort of finalize my thoughts on my games of my youth here. Like I said, you know, I really only had a short time with the Sega Genesis, but it was fun. I mean, it really was an exciting time in gaming for me, and just for a lot of people, I think. You know, there were all this stuff that we take for granted now. Some of it was just plain new. The 16-bit era, the graphics, you know, sort of increase from the 8-bit era was so significant that this was just, it was a great time to be gaming, and these are great games to go back and play. I think so many of them hold up really well to this day. Some of them have, you know, some pretty good challenge, but I think they, you know, I think they were, well, for the most part, some of them were fair. You were kind of coming off of games that were based on the arcade games, and those kind of weren't fair because you were supposed to put a bunch of money into them to play, and so you kind of had a nice mix, I guess, of games that were really arcade inspired and other ones that were more made for strictly for home consoles. You had really good arcade ports and just great graphics and music, and it was all a lot of fun. So it's been really fun for me to just sort of take a look back at some of the games I played myself back in the day. This one here, Sol Deace, was also a pack-in game with the Sega CD that I got. I just don't have the disc still. I told you I was playing some emulation here to actually be able to capture footage, so I'm sneaking a little one in here that I don't actually have the physical game for right now, but I would like to get this one back because this game is a lot of fun. I don't think that I ever beat it. I got really close. I forget how many levels there are in this. There's probably like, you know, 6 or 8 or something. I don't think there's a whole ton. And I think they get a little repeaty near the end, but I played a lot of this game when I had my Sega CD, and this is a Sega Genesis game. This is Sol Deace on the Sega Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive, of course. But yeah, that's about all. I just wanted to reminisce a little bit and play some of these old games and see what I thought of them now as an adult. And you know, I have to admit, I think without exceptions, these are still just as much fun as I remember them back in the day. Definitely my nostalgia goggles are working here, but which, you know, I think helps, but these are just fun games. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope that this was fun, and I hope you'll join me again for some more video game related videos. Thanks for watching.